at the collateral that they have, look at the confidence, because in that particular case, the loan agreement will be narrowed down into a loan agreement. And then the last thing is we look at the character of the entity. So those are 4 things that informed the restructuring when it was done in 2025.
Maybe, MD, there were some other arising issues.
Yes.
Honorable Mr. raised
let me
something to do with the tower.
Yes.
Remember, is a concern over uncompleted projects.
Yes.
Temangalo, among others. Yes, you are investing. These projects are never complete. Are you getting profits from a few, but making losses from many? Let him first answer, then you come in. No, I'm ruling. Let him answer, then you ask.
So, yeah, pension towers.
Yes.
So currently, we are at 83% in terms of completion stage. We believe that the project should be completed by end of January 2028, so 2027. So in terms of the actual amount that has been spent, we've actually paid up to 322 billion. The current contract price, after a couple of, justified, variations, stands at about 451 billion. So we believe it is a decent building. Obviously, it has a long history, but I believe next year Kampala will witness a Grade A building, the first of its kind, in excess of 29,000 square meters of lettable space. And we believe that now we are behind the bad history of delays. Next year the project will be completed. But also a couple of other questions in terms of the other projects.
Yeah, I remember asking about Temangalo. What is all about Temangalo?
Yes. So Temangalo, we are building, we have 465 acres of land, which we master plan to put a satellite city. The city will have about 3,500 units. So phase 1.
The land is in the names of Nssf?
Yes. Absolutely.
Secured? Are there squatters?
We have title for the entire land.
You have the title?
Yes.
Does it have squatters?
No encumbrances. Yeah, we have
you seem to be unsure.
Because I wanted to consult with the
let the person concerned and respond to that. Because that is the secretary to the board. Do we have tenants or any encumbrance on the Temangalo land?
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for the question. Temangalo has a long history, as most of us know. So the short answer to your question is...
We don't know. If we don't talk about history, we know the history. We want to learn from you.
Much obliged, Chair. So the answer is yes. There are a couple of issues around our land, but I'll start by reiterating what the Deputy Managing Director said. One, we have title to the property. The titles are in the names of the fund. We are in possession.
Then before you are in possession, yes. Did you pay fully for the land?
Yes.
How much?
I don't have the figures offhand. My colleague, the DND, can help.
It was 11 billion at the time.
11 billion?
At the time.
Okay, now.
Yes. So since then, there have been a couple of claims on the land. One is a claim by Temangalo Tea Estate that led to them lodging a caveat. So there is a caveat on the land, which was lodged when they filed a case in the High Court of Uganda. That case was finally determined in favor of fund. We have since lodged an application for the caveat to be vacated. It is pending before the High Court, before the court. Temangalo has filed an appeal. It's pending in the Court of Appeal. So that is one matter. There are a couple of pending reconciliations with the former vendor. There is land that they are supposed to avail us in exchange of land that the fund took that was found not to be satisfactory. So we've been having negotiations engagements really with the former vendor, Mr. Nssf, for them to identify suitable.
Who is the former vendor?
Mr. Amos Nssf.
Amos?
Amos Nssf.
Yes.
Yes. So the fund has been engaging.
Is among the, was a tenant or he was a vendor?
The vendor.
He sold to Nssf.
Yes, Chair.
At how much?
The 11 billion. But
And,
there's another vendor.
and he received the money.
Yes, Chair.
When?
In 2008?
2008.
Yes, Chair.
So how many years ago?
That is 18 years.
About 18?
Yeah.
Around 18.
Yes, Chair.
And up to now he's doing what?
So, Chair, that's the long history I was alluding to. In between this.
By now he's doing what? Has he provided alternative land or refunded the money?
So we are in the process of identifying the alternative land around in that area. So what the fund holds is actually the titles consolidated. We hold more than we bought. And as a condition for us to release the variance, he has to avail us alternative acceptable land. So in as far as the protection of the members is concerned, the comfort lies in the fact that we actually hold the title for even more than we bought, on the basis that he's supposed to avail us alternative acceptable land. Chair, I'm happy to report that we've been having very good engagements.
I think, Clark, we must interface with that. They said Amos. You said Amos?
Amos Nssf.
Amos Nssf. Huh? Then I think through your accounting officer you must avail copies of that said land, the title, since you claim it is in the names of
Chair, we shall.
Nssf. We need to be certain. Okay. Proceed.
Yes. So those are the encumbrances, and because the land is quite, some of the land that is part of the chunk that I mentioned does have a few squatters on it. And those squatters are the responsibility of Mr. Nssf to sort out. So as part of the negotiations, those are some of the issues.
Did you sign a contract of sale?
Yes, Chair.
Did it provide for how the squatters are dealt with? And the period to hand over vacant possession?
I don't have the terms of the contract.
We need please avail the committee a copy of that contract.
Chair, we shall avail all this information.
So from your recollection, who was responsible to deal with the squatters?
The vendor, Chair, the vendor.
The vendor.
The vendor.
Upon payment of the entire purchase price or part?
Ideally, it should have been upon payment, but I'll say what my colleague said earlier. Some of these actions predate some of our involvement, so we may not have a context of why certain things were done a certain way. What we are doing right now is our best to resolve these constraints. And this is where we
according
are
to the
right
record,
now.
what was done? They paid before?
So we paid, we got the land, we had the land registered in the fund's name,
Yes.
and as a condition for releasing a portion of the land, like I said, we paid more than we, if I may, I think we paid for 270, Gerard, through your chair. Gerard, if you could help me.
I think Chair will provide this information.
Yeah, I think let's avail, yeah.
No, you are still on record.
Yeah,
Because you are saying you have more than what you bought.
yeah, that's the fact.
Please try to
Chair,
elaborate for
yeah.
us.
So, Chair, the titles we have consolidated.
You bought how many acres from Nssf, Amos?
Chair, these are the details that I request that we give you, because I'm on record. I don't have to give numbers. So please allow me give you the correct records. But the fact is, the total acreage hold is slightly more than what we paid for. That's a fact. Now, the actual number, allow me to give you the facts based on the supporting documents, so that I don't go on record with wrong numbers.
So by Friday, you will have the committee
Yes, Chair.
with
Chair.
those records.
Yes.
Yes.
But Chair, just to conclude the submission, we have been in very active engagements with Mr. Nssf. We've had property resurveyed. We've had the problem areas identified where some of those quarters are, and Mr. Nssf is working with his team to avail us alternative land that's encumbrance free. So that is the...
Where did you get the assurance that he's working with his team? Do you have a correspondence from him in
Yes,
writing?
Chair. Yes, Chair, we do. We've had meetings, we have records of meetings.
I mean, correspondence. What does this correspondence say?
Chair, we have record of meetings we've had with him and his technical team, as well as our technical team, the surveyors and all
No,
that.
away from the meetings, I mean formal correspondence, where he's pledging to look for alternative land.
Yes, Chair, we do have, in fact, it was
Which year?
2014, 15.
So he wrote in
We have an
2014.
arbitral award, an arbitral award where these commitments were made. And
So-
Chair, I will avail all this.
So from 2014 up to now, he has not secured alternative land.
Not yet, Chair.
Yes?
Chair, if I could come in. So, as my colleague has submitted, the fund, when the fund paid, it got all titles for the land. But then there was another agreement which was executed between the vendor and the fund at the time. That one was what they called a swap agreement, whereby we exchange some of the land that we paid for, and then we get other land. But that one had 3 conditions. The first condition was that land had to be good land. It didn't have to have low-lying land. Sorry, it didn't have, it didn't require for it to be low-lying. The second condition was that it should not have encroachments, right? And then the third condition was it had to be adjusted. Now, the land that has, over the years, between 2014 and 2026, where we are, the alternative that has been given to the fund has failed to meet the 3 conditions, which is why the swap agreement has not been effective.
You didn't apportion a deadline,
I think right now,
because you cannot be in procurement forever over the same transaction.
actually, I think right now, what we've decided and obviously guided by our board, he has been served an eviction letter. Because it appears, Mr. Nzei, and
Yes.
we can avail a copy.
Yeah, you avail a copy.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it appears the issue of finding alternative land is not likely to be concluded, especially in light of the 3 conditions that were set at the time.
Could you, the eviction letter should be form part of the documents.
Okay.
You need to avail the committee. Yes, Honorable, let's start from there. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
No, let's start from him. Coming this way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My concern is the NSSF, to my understanding, has not clearly answered your question. The issue was you are in a rush to invest, as the MD put it. But what is the status of those earlier investments? And the example was the Temangalo land. You've labored to explain, but you've not hit the nail on the head. What is the status? This is land which was purchased almost 18 years ago. No investment. This is money which belongs to the public. So is this your method of operation? Secondly, they asked you about the policy you use to identify potential clients. Do you doubt, as the MD put it, that you look in the newspapers and things of that sort? So if I dress smartly and I appear to have the money, do I qualify? Thirdly, fellow council, excuse me. You ably told this committee that you have a court order. There was a court matter and it was determined in favor of the fund. And then you are telling us you filed an application to vacate the caveat. Is that okay legally? You already in possession of the court order, and then you apply to vacate. I thought you would just execute the court order and then move the registrar to vacate the caveat. You don't need another legal battle where you serve the things like that. The court order alone is enough to vacate the caveat. Much obliged, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Please note you're going to answer at once because every hand is up. Yes, Honorable.
Chair,
No, the Honorable next. Honorable Logose.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm called Logose Sarah Annette, Woman Member of Parliament, Butaleja District. My question is, since the fund got this land or acquired this land, has it been used by Nssf? Has it been being used by the said Mzee? Is it Nzee or Mzee? Yes, Amos Nzee. Or has it been just redundant? Because I don't understand how property can be acquired for all these years and it has just been there, being looked at, meandering around, because I will call it meandering around, because there are laws which can be implemented for this whole issue to get off the table. So I'm wondering, has it been just redundant there, or who of the two of you, who of you has been using the land? Thank you.
Yes, we are following the line.
So, Chair, mine is also slightly related to them, but to make my point clearer, in the contract of sale that you talked about, there must have been a provision to protect the funds, the monies of the fund. After 18 years, the legal officer here was saying what they have is slightly bigger. After 18 years, even if we look at the commercial rates, land that was bought in 2008, 18 years, by now, how much would that be if we had to protect the monies of the fund?
So you are questioning if there is an applicable interest.
Yes, because there must be a rate at which the monies should be growing.
So we need to interrogate the contents of the contract. The sale contract, you receive money, you don't deliver land. We can't, Nssf can't be claiming the same total it paid 18 years ago. I think your question is in that context. Yes?
Thank you, Chairperson. My issue is about the Auditor General's concern that the fund has associates, 5 of them. And the deputy, the vice chairperson also hinted at it, but the MD and DLD did not answer that. I would like to know what are these 5 associates that the Auditor General is referring to, where Nssf has invested. And I'd also like the MD to bring the committee on the same page on the exact shareholding percentage regarding how much the fund has invested in those associates, and also whether Nssf has a representative on the boards of those associates. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Yours is on the first issue of the audit report.
Thank you so much.
I guess so.
Yes, sir.
I think let's first exhaust the second, which took us to now the other projects. Then we go to the first issue. But please record his question.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Even the more issue among the projects. Yes. Let's move in the line. Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. MD, really, how can it be 18 years down the road that pension house is still under construction? How can you really tell this committee? And now you are still at 83%. You're not sure when you will hand over. Thank you.
So is the tower being constructed forever? It is.
Thank you, Chair. Zahara Lirika, much in the West. Chair, that confusing statements. I need clarity. Chair, the Director Legal says that Nssf and the vendor are in negotiations, mediations. And the DMD is saying that there is a notice to vacate the premises. So which is which, Chair? I am confused about that.
Which is which?
Yes.
You record, you are going to answer all.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chair. Concern is about the report that came from the Attorney General,
Honorable Zahara assisted the workers MP
Nssf,
to pull closer the.
Thank you very much, Chair and the colleagues. My concern is on this, the Nssf annual report of June 2025, and the attorney, the auditor general also, I think went through, and his stamp is there. But when I went further, there is a record which is puzzling me, that in this report, I think as he was going through, there were some areas were left out. I can say, he said pages 8 to 11 intentionally omitted. And to me, I think there is something what was being closed off, and we need to know what was the problem.
Yes. Where are we?
Thank you, Chair. Once again, Eliabuna Turinda, MP Logwa County West. Chair, the MD in one of his submissions talked about 3 values. One of them is safety. And if you talk about safety, you are talking about management of the fund and investment. MD, on the matter of giving loan to Uganda Clays, I want to bring it to your attention that Section 30 of the Nssf Act requires you as the Nssf to do consultation with the Minister of Finance. Can you be on record and tell Ugandans whether you go to that consultation, and if it's there, can you furnish it to this House? Chair, my other concern.
Which are you asking? Document?
Yes, that authority from the Minister, giving them authority to go ahead and transact with Uganda Clays, because that is the position of the law, Section 30.
So, proof that you got clearance?
Yes.
From Ministry of Finance.
Chair, this team from Nssf today, they keep in hide and seek. They keep saying they happened before we came in. But I want to inform these people before us that the day you were offered appointment letters, you take responsibility over the management of Nssf affairs. So this question of coming here and you say they happened when you are not yet there should cease. And if
whatever, I think that's enough for now.
One last one.
Hey,
if they are not prepared, I think they can go back and organize themselves and come when they are prepared.
There is no way of dodging accountability.
Yes.
You must explain, then we decide.
Thank you, Chair. Once again, Mokuri Geoffrey, Mungo South County. I heard clearly when the deputy MD was responding on a question of what is best on to offer a loan, what is the best on to offer Uganda Clays a loan. He explained that partly it was declining, and had broken down and was facing competition. And they opened to a successful business in most cases. So, contrary to the individual request, who has successful business and the ability to pay, but you prefer one declining and is fearing competition. Don't you think such an offer was based on hidden interests, hidden beneficial interests? Then how often do you publish dormant accounts of some customers? Some customers have remitted to Nssf quietly, without family members knowing, even when they have next of kin. Like COVID, some of them perished. Don't you think part of the reserve accounts, some of those members who supposed to correct and they are no longer exist, but the family does not know money is within Nssf. Lastly, how do you treat members who lose jobs but below the beneficiary age of 45 or 50 in terms of their benefits?
Thank you. Honorable Kawati.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, mine is in relation to the issue of delay of the projects. First, I'm interested in knowing the cost so far, the amount of money which the fund has spent on the pension tower. Secondly, I've had many introducing themselves as people in charge of the real estate. Was due diligence carried out on the Temangalo land? If yes, what guided the fund to enter into that transaction? Mr. MD, don't you think that this whole fracas has delayed the activities of the fund onto that land? Yet the people would want to see something taking place as far as the audit is concerned. For some of us who pass via that land, the Chair, we've been seeing cattle on that land. Who owns the cattle? Because what we've heard is like there's a court ruling. Amos Nssf is not in possession of the land. It is the fund that is in possession of the land. We'd like to know whether it is the fund that owns the cattle that is being raised on that land. Thank you.
Thank you. So, MD, who owns the cattle? Is there cattle? Someone is using the land?
I haven't seen the cattle, but what we know, and maybe this, let me answer it
No,
now.
just that one.
Yeah, it will help actually answer two questions that she raised.
Yes?
Yes, the reason why there was contention, on the title land we have, there was Mr. Z's house, to have a farm there.
So Amos Nssf stays on the land?
No, he doesn't.
Up to now?
No, he doesn't.
He kept the cattle?
He wanted to keep the house, but part of the deal is we needed land that was suitable that the DMD talked about. When he's talking about evicting, we now evict him off that house.
So
That is still there.
it is possible that the cattle there is for Nssf?
It's possible, but I haven't seen it.
You, as the landlord, you haven't taken interest to verify? Clarify on the cattle, because the cattle...
Okay, the cattle...
Maybe we can profit as Nssf from the cattle.
Let me just clarify, Mr. Chairman, that the cattle that you sometimes see there does not belong to Mr. Zay. Part of what we do, because the land is expansive, part of what we do is community relations. Sometimes the local neighbors ask us if they can, the land is there, there are no buildings.
No. Are you disputing the MD's submission that Amos has a house on the land?
Amos has a house there and few cows.
And a few cows?
Yes, but...
The member didn't put the number of cows. Let me conclude this side.
Chair,
okay, we shall revert.
Chair.
Let me conclude this side. Yes, Council.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just to consolidate our response, Chair, I've gotten my numbers now, so I can share them with you.
You respond at once. Let me finish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm the next person.
Honorable Bruce.
I'm the one who's
next.
Yes.
Then you.
Okay. Now, I want to refer to page 13 of the audit report, statement of net assets available for benefits. When you look at the note 23, investment in associates at fair value, you reduced your investment from 429 billion to 231 billion. Now, the Deputy Managing Director talked about the due diligence you do before you invest in associates. And from this, either the share price or the share value of the investment that you made in associates has reduced, meaning the estimates are not doing well, or you pulled out of certain associates. So what are the explanation whether you pulled out? I've also seen something to do with Umeme. What is the status of your investment in Umeme? There's also, when you look at note 12 of this report, there is
an overdraft. You paid interest on overdraft of about 1.7 billion. Now people would be wondering how Nssf, which gives loans, is also borrowing. What is the status? Why would you give loans and also you also borrow? I know you are trying to breach working capital needs, but then it doesn't make sense for Nssf to be borrowing 100 billion when it has assets of 25 trillion, whatever. Then I was reading about the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority Act, Section 68. It restricts you from lending apart from members. So under which law, still going back to Uganda claims, and then said, yes, anybody can come and we look at you when you're answering Mr. Honorable Angoli. Now, don't you think you are breaking that rule, Section 68 of the Act? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, on issue 2 about Uganda claims, the responses they have given, but I'm still not satisfied. And what am I asking? The loan was first granted to Uganda claims in 2011. The same loan was restored in 2024. The question we're asking, which is the value going forward, for us to know whether the savers' money is at risk. If in 2011 there were no rules followed, what rules did you follow in 2024? And assuming you didn't follow any rules in 2024, what rules do you have in place to guide issues related with lending, borrowing, and loaning in the event that you want to engage with an entity in which you have shares? Thank you.
You? Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to find out what I am. Mr. Chairman, through you to the MD. The MD alluded that Mr. Zay, Amos Zay, is looking for land elsewhere so that they could swap, because it was a swap deal. Are you mindful about the location? Because land in Namugongo and the Kireka is not the same. When you go to Namugongo, the price is different. When you come to Kireka, it is different. When you go to Mukono, where I stay, it is what? So are you mindful about the location from Temangalo to somewhere else? And were these part of your discussions in your MOU with Amos Zay? This is something that you need to tell the committee and the Ugandans, because this is their money. It is not yours as an entity, but it's for Ugandans who are saving with them. So thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I earlier on asked entities that Nssf has so far invested in, and I can see on their page 39 of their document, when you go to New Vision Printing and Publishing Company, there is nothing that shows that it's doing well among other companies, because the trading prices are not even there on page 39 of the Chairman, while we dealt well with the Temangalo, not conclusive, but still the Ruboa issue is also burning, Mr. Chairman. It's one of the projects that Nssf invested in a lot of money, and it's a white elephant as we speak today, Mr. Chairman. We need a thorough explanation in regard to the decision that was taken to invest in Ruboa, Mr. Chairman.
Ruboa, please, Mark Ruboa, for the appropriate response.
Sorry for shifting it, because our kids in PE, they are stressed in the sewer. This side are also stressed with the city. This is, I will thank
Go to Nssf.
Yeah, Chair, the MD, he was communicating to us. He stated in an easy way that to get money, even 2 days are enough. Even $1 phone you get. And when such big people are here before us, they give us information and you may think that it is as cheap and free as they have stated. But moving out is different. That's where people can say, network, you must get a code, what. You know, we have even people, you serve who are villagers, like my people of Kamira, network can take 2 weeks. So you have such arrangement when you take that 2 days are okay. So we need also just to be fair as you are giving such, because some of the things you are saying they are not applicable. So we want you to be genuine to Ugandans too. In Uganda there is always a handover function and you see people exchanging files. But here we are circling on these issues because where you are now, Nssf, it's the only somewhere people can just get some little money which they have worked for. But for you are using it, you benefit much more than those who are in need of that money. So how I wish that as you are before us, the issue of we are not in office. We are not in office. That's why some issues, when you use that as it were a defense. So I think that on chair you need to guide us, that whoever is here is in capacity to answer and brief us conclusive without using anything of that nature. Last one.
Maybe to arrest your fears.
Yes.
The constitution is very clear.
Yes.
That any public officer or accounting officer who is in charge of vote, whether you're in office or you're out of office, you can still be invited or summoned to answer for any respective money which was spent or misspent under your control and direction. So be rest assured that the answer that we are not in office is subject to scrutiny, and we actually entertain it based on available evidence. That's why we sought for additional.
Thank you, Chair, with your wide guidance.
But I hope you are done, because
yeah,
we have to move.
Concluding with the last one, as I stated.
Please conclude. One second.
Chair, there are such arrangements of buying property in Uganda and what you have seen current of conspiracy or insiders when they are working with outsiders, so that they can frustrate the intention of someone who is having an agenda for them internally to benefit. Can you assume that for matters of Kajansi, Temangalo, you have somewhere where you benefit so that you frustrate the deal to benefit you as insiders?
By who you are pointing at? Who?
The whole bench.
The whole of
the whole bench,
okay.
Because they are here for purpose.
Okay, they respond.
Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just 2 questions. One is still about Uganda Clays. I would love to know which other institutions and organizations that fall under Uganda Clays, and what is their portfolio. If you have been, that is, if you've been lending to other organizations like Uganda Clays, and how are they performing? Would love to have such a report so that it can be clear that it is not actually Uganda Clays, or that you singled out only one entity in this country and it is what you loaned.
Yes.
Number 2 is about Temangalo. In about 2008 or thereby, there was an MOU where Mr. Nssf was supposed actually to compensate Nssf with another piece of land, about 104 acres plus. It's now 18 years, and this whole process has been stalled. We are wondering, is there hope that Ugandans will get that land? Is there a hope that that business made to be invested there will take shape? Finally, Mr. Chairman, I really think that we need a more interactive time with the Nssf because there are many issues and we will not get meaningful and sufficient engagements in just 3 hours. Between 11, as I can see, it's almost 1. We start here at 11. We will not have a satisfactory engagement.
Don't
I beg
worry.
to submit, Mr.
Don't
Chairman.
worry. You have the time for your issues. Yes, what about him?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, there is an issue which was has been brought about by Honorable Secretary Ku. I've heard the lady, I've not yet marked the names, and a gentleman there talking about the period they acquired the offices and decisions when they were made. The lady said some decisions were made when they were not in the responsibility of the same offices, and the gentleman said it too. Maybe it seems these people are also not satisfied with the decision which were made by those people which were in offices before. We need to get clarity. Are you not also satisfied by these decisions which were made by your predecessors? Because I've heard it, the lady complaining about it, and the gentleman complaining about it. And like you guided, Mr. Chairman, can this committee summon the same people who made the decisions to get clarity of some issues? Then number 2, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Owoli is a board member of Kajansi. But again, it's one of the decision makers in Nssf. Are you there as a board member to benefit the Nssf? Were you assigned to be a board member as a reason to benefit Nssf? Or did the Kajansi clays benefit in this loan because you were a member of the board and also working in Nssf? And is it true that whenever you borrow money to one institution, you designate a board member to an institution? So we need to get some clarity there. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, I'm asking a question about the beneficiaries. If someone was on a different scheme, savings scheme, and changes a scheme to another scheme, when does that person has to access the money? When is not yet already at 45 or 50 what? 55. Can that person access money if the savings scheme changes? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've captured quite a number of questions. Before I let this side ask more, Body Secretary Council, please first respond yours, then we move. The MD will now summarize all. Let me first get some quick responses from this side concerning.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. So most of my questions are around the Temangalo project. So I now have the numbers. The fund bought 463.87 acres in 2008 from
It bought
463.
463.
0.87 acres from Mr. Nssf and AMA Limited at the time. And at the time, there was
It was bought from Nssf and who?
AMA Limited, ARMA
AMA Limited.
Limited, yes.
Who are the directors of AMA Limited? Wait, you want to answer for her? Who are the directors for AMA Limited?
From my recollection, I believe one of them was Mr. Mbabazi.
Mr.
Mama
Mbabazi.
That will get the details from the records that we are going to share.
Okay.
Right? And Mr. Nssf.
One director?
So at the time, there was a memorandum of understanding for the fund to swap 108 acres with Mr. Nssf to enable him retain development on that land, because they were occupying the land. They had farmland and a house here. So now that speaks to the question the Honorable that is seated next to you asked about, we seem to also, our views about the decisions that were made. If I were involved at the time, I would have wanted that the swap is done before the sale is completed. Eh? Yeah, so I don't know why that decision was made. So you were not satisfied? Yeah, but there must have been reasons which I'm not privy to. And that answers the question on our views on that. So
Okay.
what has been happening to date is the endeavor to have the swap done and completed. And that has taken a bit of time, including a process that resulted in an arbitral award, the swap agreement that my DMD talked about. And to answer the question, Honorable Louis asked, sorry if I got the name wrong, my apologies. So you wondered why, yeah, Louis Rika, my apologies, why I said negotiations were going on and my DMD said we had completed. So we've been at it for a while. We issued a notice with a deadline of 30th June. And that's what the DMD was talking about. So preceding that were the negotiations, including the valuation, the survey, and all that. So that had been happening. And when that didn't yield the results we were seeking for, the fund has now issued that notice to Mr. Nssf in a bid to recover. And then the question about the cows on the land, yes, part of the land he owns is his farmland. So yes, some of the cows are actually his. And the fund is looking at some of that land as the appropriate suitable land to replace that is in line with the swap we talked about earlier. So I hope that clarifies.
Oh, you bought from Nssf
and
Amama.
No, and Amma Limited.
Okay, and Amma Limited.
Yes, it's a legal entity.
Then one of the sellers, vendor, is still using the land.
No, they were already on the land, and as
Yes.
part of the sale, there was that MOU that provided that a swap would happen.
So they occupy the land?
Not all the land.
Part of the land.
Of the land. The fund occupies most of the land. In fact, that's why we've been able to develop the ongoing project, as the MD talked about. So we hold most of the land, but we still need a balance, and he still holds part of that land. So that is the subject of the swap.
Okay. Maybe clarity, Council Vita. Why was there a need to make an MOU on top of a sale agreement? Of course, we are mindful that we've not yet got the details, the documents which we plan for Mr. Vale, but ordinarily the sale agreement should be self-execution.
Absolutely.
Why was
Chair,
there a need to make an MOU to?
I agree. And Chair, with respect, like I said, ideally the sale agreement would have been conclusive in itself, including the land that had been bought and all that. However, for reasons that I am not privy to, that is the situation.
So
yeah.
Let's turn to our representative in Uganda, please. Let's move chronologically up to the Now, you seem to know about cows on the land. Your colleagues are telling us some of the cows, all the cows are for Amos Nssf. Now, you are disputing that fact. Where were you getting your information? Do you have some conflict of interest somewhere? Just be clear so that our record is...
Yeah, there is no conflict of interest at all. And both answers are right. Like they have said, let me explain. The gentleman Amos has about 100 acres in his possession. In that 100 acres, he keeps some cows. The fund has the balance of 300 acres plus of empty land that has just started being developed. Part of that land, the local community occasionally requests the fund to allow them to graze their animals there. I'm in charge of security at the fund, so we normally allow the neighboring community to raise, part of good neighboring. So it's both correct that some of the cows are in Mr. Nssf's 100 plus acres, and some of the cows the Honorable could have seen would be for the community.
Do you have evidence to that?
I know it because I approve it. The fund approves it for neighbors once in a while to raise. So there's no written evidence.
Could you give the committee at least a copy of such alleged approval for any member of the committee? Yeah, for, allowing members of the public or any other person to utilize the land.
Utilizing would probably not be the word to use it. There are neighboring communities around us. There is empty land with grass in it. So
when did you last visit the land? When?
Last in Temangalo,
yes.
maybe 4 months, 5 months ago.
So you visit after which interval?
I visit about twice in a year. Twice in a year.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. My question goes to the officer in charge of security. Whether his level of kindness has allowed the fund, or even him as an officer, to even give the neighboring communities permission to construct paddocks on that land. Because the land I'm talking about, they are paddocks, very organized. I don't think that can be done by the neighboring communities. Secondly, the land, Chair, want the legal officer to clarify whether the land that Amos is utilizing is owned by him or the fund. Who has the title for that land? That is our interest.
Thank you. I think we may be, and we may actually need to visit some of these properties, because if for you go there twice a year, it appears a member normally uses the same road to his home. Now, and your colleagues are having different answers to the same question. Maybe we shall have to ascertain on the ground. We shall come back to that later.
MD. Thank you. I just wanted to bring to one thing that the good news is this. After years of delay, as you mentioned, we are constructing, developing close to 500 homes in Temangalo that are going to go into for sales by the end of September. That will be 500 homes. The first phase that we are going to build, or we are building them. Also touches a bit on what you asked. The testimony that we had is basically we own the title, the entire title, including where Zay's house is in the name of the fund. After transfers, that's when he wanted to keep the house, but the condition was, which goes to a question that I believe one of the honorable raised, that land in Namungwana is a different piece of land. No, there are three conditions. The land had to be adjacent to our land, it had to be squatter-free, and be suitable for what we wanted to do. Those were the three conditions. And all the swaps he has attempted, none of the pieces he has offered meets all the three criteria. That's why it has taken that long. So the notice of eviction is when we get out of our land, because we hold the title to what he now has, that case. So that kind of even where we are with Temangalo. 500 homes are coming up, will begin pre-sales end of September. Luboa, we just finished the first phase of 300 homes, have sold the homes. There are only 8 homes remaining in Luboa today, out of 306 that were constructed. So there's progress in terms of what we're doing with this land and developing it, in spite of long history and delay that we have gone through in the case. When we come to the issue of Uganda claim, I think the question was, is this the only entity? That's the only loan that we have given to an entity. And this was done in 2011, before the UBRA Act was enacted. Because the UBRA Act, that came, the section that the Honourable Member 68, that was part of the UBRA Act. This loan was lent prior to the enaction of the UBRA Act. So there is no violation of any section in that case. There is a gentleman just mentioned something about TAT that we said we'll get their monies in 2 days. It's unfortunate if you have a member who has come and has complained. It's possible. But the average in terms of what we pay, and we have 6 classes of benefits that we pay. Some of them like age benefit, which is somebody's 55. The average is 3.5 days. We know if the paperwork is together and everything is right, we pay it as quickly as we can. Survivor benefit takes a while because there are dependencies. Because somebody has to get the administration letters, has to go to court, has to declare. That takes a while before a member can get the money. But otherwise, in general, we're actually paying this well. And that members actually, the level of satisfaction with the fund is incredible because they know we do pay what they need. Now, occasionally you run into a problem where somebody has, typical in Uganda, I have a phone number, but it's not in my name, which means you can't initiate that transaction on the phone because there will be a conflict between what you have in the system and what you have on your phone. In that case, that member is going to come and walk and go to a branch to initiate those transactions. But otherwise, in terms of the TAT payments, we actually do. I think there was a question that raised a bit in terms of the representation of fund board or staff on another board. It's common. If you are an investor and you started a business, you as the investor in that business, shouldn't you appoint a representative to make sure that your business affairs are being monitored and taken? So it's not unusual for fund employees, fund staff, or board to be on the other investor funds. So actually, it's a prudent thing, a business thing that we need to do in that case. A bit of, I think, I've given you Lubowa, I've given you Temangalo, where we are. He said pension towers, we hope it will be finished by January 2027. We are already, and he gave us how much? 83%. How much have we spent?
Through you, Chair. We've invested 322 billion to date.
In how many years?
Okay, the project was started in 2000, but it had a redesign and the whole story. But up to now, when you look at the existing contracts, what has been paid to date is 322 billion.
And when do you hope to finish it?
End of January 2027.
January 2027. It's at 83%.
Which is about 6 months from now.
Now let's have a 3-minute fitness break. Then we'll proceed with the response.
Stand up, please. Just 2 minutes. Go down the paper. Blood saturation. Say blood saturation. 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 Exercise is necessary. Exercise is necessary. Exercise is necessary. Exercise is necessary. Health is wealth. 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 Please go. 1.
Thank you. Welcome back from that fitness break. MD, proceed.
Thank you. I think that was on the Temangalo, Loboa, and the other investments that we had. I wanted to touch a bit on the issue around the reserve accounts and what we call the suspect accounts. The Nssf Act actually made a provision wisely that there would always be a suspense account, a reserve account. What creates it? The biggest issue that was back in when the government was privatizing a number of entities. For example, Produce Marketing Board, Coffee Marketing Board. What the auditors did 2 or 3 years after closure, they would go into this entity and find a line which says payable to Nssf. And they would send a check to Nssf without any accompanying details on such a member. We also found a lot of things that was interesting. Some of the people who worked in tea plantations, especially in Western Uganda and so on, were actually come from the Congo. But the money was being deducted and sent to us without registration. That, when we did an analysis, that were, I think, around 9 or 10 years ago. That number was close to 145 million shillings. That number now has kind of stagnated around 45 million shillings. And we do advertise. Now, at each end of the month, so end of the year, what happens is a lot of employers realize that they need to have their money in for June 30th. They will send money without accompanying schedules. That's why normally you'll see end of year, there's a bump and then it goes down as the names come through in that case. Every account, every balance in Nssf, whether it is in the reserve account, when we declare interest, we apply interest on that account. I tell people jokingly that Nssf is a place where you will not lose money. If you have a grandchild who comes and you know, my grandfather used to work in Produce Marketing Board, here's the documentation we have and so on, this is what was it. We'll go back in that reserve account. Now, the law requires that we have to go to the Minister of Finance to get permission to then pay that member. But it doesn't matter how many generations it will be. If somebody shows up with the documentation to prove that his great-grandfather, great-grandmother worked in a certain entity, and they've never got the money, and they can give us the documentation for that, they will get paid. So in essence, this is because the money doesn't go to the concession. And we apply interest on that money every year when we declare interest. So that no member is disadvantaged because the money is in it. We run dormant fund announcements once a day. I think we're just getting ready to run another one, so that we try to remind people. Sometimes we only have one name. We'll try to do that. Please come, bring your documentation. Let's see what you have. See if maybe you have money.
When did you last make such announcement? The last time? No. Let's get here. Yeah. When did you last make the announcement for money on dormant accounts?
Chair, we last did one for the financial that just ended, because it is a requirement of the law for us to publish the dormant account on an annual basis. So even for the year that ended June, we published, and that evidence can be.
You published it in June or within the year?
No. I'm saying for the year that just ended June, we published within the year. I may not give you the real month or date, but that evidence is available.
We need a copy of that advert. What about for the previous year, the year in audit in question?
We did as well, because it is a requirement of the law that annually
we need both for 2024, 2025, and 2025, not 2026. The member wants to know what do you include?
So we include the name of the individual. We include the company where they worked. We cannot include the rest of the details because they are very private, details. We can't put the balances in the notice, but it's simply your name and the company where you worked. Pardon? Which number? Well, no. Because, for the suspense account, this person doesn't have a number. Okay, for the dormant account, now, Chair.
No, please, take us slow. Now, for those who you say don't have a number, how do you arrive at that? Before you go into
Thank you, Chair.
The depots. You proceed. You are
So,
protected.
Chair, just for context,
yes,
there is a difference between the suspense account and the dormant account.
Yes.
For dormant accounts, under the law, there are people that qualified and took their money. But for some reason, additional money came onto their account. We are required to publish such that such people can come for that additional money. Okay? Now, suspense account relates to unallocated contributions. Today, we can grant the audit an entity 7 years ago. And from the audit findings we discovered, there were people employed there whose monies were never remitted. We've got an obligation to recover their money. So when we recover their money and you do not have an Nssf number, that money is what is kept on the suspense account.
Now,
also,
before you proceed, if it arises in that way, it means the entity you saw audit would be in position to provide names of the beneficiaries. Why wouldn't you now make a pronouncement that includes the beneficiaries' names?
And Chair,
even though they may not have accounts.
Chair, we include the names when it's a publication for suspense account.
Have you made a publication for suspense account?
Yes, and we'll give you that as well.
When was it?
Last financial year we did, and there.
So we also need copies of those two.
Chair.
Conclude that point.
Chair. So, Chair.
Let him conclude on that point before then we'll engage him.
So, Chair, what I'm explaining is that we've got an obligation to recover that money on behalf of the member, even when that member is not fighting. It is then our duty as Nssf to undertake efforts to look for those members. Now, when you look at the amounts that the MD, talked about, the fact that that amount gradually has gone down, it means that indeed we managed to trace these individuals, register them, transfer that from the suspense account to their individual account, run their interest for the years that the money was with the fund. And if they qualify, they put in a claim. If they don't qualify, the account keeps with the fund.
MD, complete the first questions before I open up.
Okay, thank you.
Could the pass?
There were a couple of areas that Chair wanted me to touch on. This is basically the forex expenditures, or these are not transactions. If you go, when you look at the page 31, which is basically a detail of where that is, it is not due to transactions. And two things, you look at it through two numbers. The number on top in that 8, there is fair value gains of 649 billion shillings, and then FX losses of 273 billion. You look at them together because they kind of work together. Where does an FX loss arise from? Last year, in 2025, the Uganda shilling appreciated against mainly the Kenya shilling. And to give you the easiest example is, if at the beginning of the year, the exchange rate between the Uganda shilling and the Kenya shilling is, I need 30 Uganda shillings to buy 1 Kenya shilling. And I want to buy a cow in Kenya, which costs 10,000 Kenya shillings. It means I need to get 300,000 Uganda shillings, exchange it at 30 shillings per exchange, and go buy that cow in Kenya at 10,000 shillings. So on my books, because we keep the books in Uganda shillings, I record that cow at 300,000 shillings as an asset. Let's say at the end of the year, the Uganda shilling has appreciated. Now, I don't need 30 shillings to buy 1 Kenya shillings. I only need 25. Now, in my books, because I keep the books in I have to revalue that cow. So now in my books, I will carry that cow at 50,000 Uganda shillings. I still have the cow. I didn't sell the cow at all. So there was no transaction. It's just because of accounting rules require that and need to be able to do valuation based on market, based on FX rates. So that's what this section is all about. It's not about that we're dealing or transacting or in the exchange rates to do this. Just because we do have assets in Kenya, in Tanzania, and the exchange rates don't stay stagnant. They keep on going back. Fortunately, this year, this is where it sounds a bit pretty. This year, 2026, the Uganda shilling has depreciated against the Kenya shillings. So guess what? This position is reversed now this year. Because now I need more Uganda shillings to buy one Kenya shilling than I did the year before. That's the explanation behind all these FX rates, and I hope it makes it a bit easier.
Because from your books, you made a loss in foreign exchange of 208 billion. 273?
Yeah.
273,
yes.
273 billion.
Yes.
To ordinary Uganda, this.
But I also made a gain of 649. If
You
look
made
at
a gain of what?
649 billion.
649
So
billion.
that's why you need to look at section.
Could you?
No. Now that's just gains. I bought a share of stocks, say Safaricom, at 29 shillings, 29
No.
Kenya shillings. At the end of the year, it has appreciated.
Now,
So
to
that's a
your
market
recollection,
movement.
please assist us with a breakdown. How did this 270 something billion arise?
No, it's actually here. It's telling you we have a stock of assets we hold in Kenya, for example.
Is it in Kenya or you are using it as an example?
No, actually we invested in Kenya and Tanzania.
Okay.
They have their own currency. So what happens is at the end of each year you have got a valuation because your currencies are not trading at parity. And the accounting rules require that you reflect that in your books. But the asset is still there. We didn't sell the asset at all. It's still there.
Okay.
I don't know that. Aha. Yeah, I'm going to
I wanted him to
Just wanted to make
finish
sure
this
we're
responses,
here.
then it tackles the first
Okay.
issue.
So does that provide enough explanation?
I want you, what you do, you answer all these questions.
Right.
Then quickly respond to also the first issue within the OT report, which covers those investments.
Okay.
So that the next round it covers.
Okay.
Both.
So now, investment associates on which you raise, that's on page, I think, note 23, if I recall.
No, I wanted you to answer it in this way. First respond to the audit query itself.
Yes.
Then go to the detailed response.
Okay. The audit
But
query.
but that's in case the questions are you have answered all. It was one. Okay, what you do? Proceed and respond to
Yes.
the first issue.
Okay.
Within the audit report.
The first issue on the report was basically that we did not have terms of reference first when we sent to our investing companies to represent the fund. What are their responsibilities? What should they do? And took a while to go because the rules are a bit different. For example, the rules, whereas if you invest in a company and you're a board member, the confidentiality rules of that company sometimes are even governed by the Capital Markets Authority. For example, if a board member on a company that's listed on the stock exchange, you can't have a discussion in the boardroom, then come and blabber out here. It will be against the rules. So the question is, what would we need to do so that there could be? So the paper that come out here that we have drafted takes into mind that is where they can come, report back, do whatever needs to be done without violating their responsibilities in terms of confidentiality is concerned in that company. So that's basically what the auditors were saying, that we needed to come up with some guidance on what people we send to represent us in different companies, their responsibilities, how we pick them, so that there's a bit of a formality how we do that.
I don't find it as just a formality, because now that we are identifying concerns within some of these entities, this will guide on how Nssf is able represented and more so wherever it invests. I can see the Auditor General stated, I noted that the fund lacked documented terms of reference or guidelines specifying the role, authority, and responsibilities of the fund, body representatives in associate companies, and how the fund's influence would be exercised. For example, you'll find that you are the majority shareholder in some company.
Correct.
But the person you send doesn't have terms of reference.
No, and that's what the keyword.
How did you show it?
There is a draft on page, I think, we shared actually the terms. Yeah, it's here.
Is it?
We shared it.
In which document?
I can share it.
The small file?
It is, no, not that one. It's actually part of the, part we shared.
Yes?
Yes.
So,
yeah. Yes.
When was this developed?
This was basically, we drafted it this year. We already received it.
By this year, you mean which month?
2026. We are doing 2026. That's a draft.
Yes. At what level is it?
No, I think it's going now for final board. It's going for board for them to sign up.
Has it appeared before the board?
No, not yet. The board is meeting on the next month, 13th of August.
When does the board?
4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
Has it sat this year?
It has. But like I said, the number of things we needed to consider, we even went as far as other markets. What do they have? We looked at what the UK does, what South Africa, the governance, what do they require, how do they do it? So what we ended up with was quite a comprehensive
In absence of this, the representative signed what? What do we execute with the, for example, he represents us in Uganda or Nssf.
Yes.
In Uganda case. What document did he execute?
When he goes there, the Uganda clays will normally have a document that they have to sign as board members of Uganda clays.
I mean on behalf of Nssf, what does he sign? He just
there's a letter that we sent to them. You've been appointed to go here, or you've been nominated to go to this.
Without terms of reference?
No, that's what the auditor had an issue with, that we didn't have it written out clearly. That was the problem of the auditor, and that's what we cured in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when do you expect to table this?
13.
Huh?
13. We've tabled it before the board for the next meeting of August. Of August, yes. So we can give you answers. We can send it to you.
So has it been itemized among the issues? Who arranges the agenda for the board? Please come in.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I confirm that the review of those guidelines is an agenda item to be considered in the upcoming board.
So you have you're already working on the draft agenda, or?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, provide an answer. There are questions related to that.
All right. Now, then question that raised now about the movement of the balances in associate. We got 23. So this is actually in the note 23. If you notice, in 2024, the total amount in terms of what was invested in associates was 429 billion shillings. End of June 2025, that number was 231,851. Now, it all boils down to that animal we call umeme. As you know, last year, the what was that? The concession between Uganda and Umeme was not renewed. It did a couple of things. Certainly, Umeme is not trading anymore. So whatever share price it was having, basically kind of froze. In accounting terms, we have to be able to reflect that in our books, because you can't continue carrying Umeme at last year's value when you have events that have occurred this year that would be having. Exactly. Would have basically an asset, which there's a member here who says that Nssf overvalues his asset. I'll actually a little bit about that one. So that caused basically we had to write down the Umeme balances to 117 billion shillings because of that event. Now there's still arbitration going on. If Umeme is able to get the money they want from the government, they have to give us our share, which means that then that income then will be recognized at that point in time as it was. So that was a big one. Then the other thing that was interesting is Umeme then also goes ahead and sends us a dividend check of 101,388. Now, for the accountants in this room, under accounting for associates, when you get a dividend is considered a reduction in your part of the earnings from that entity. Usually when, let's say I own 30% of an entity, I'm using accounting for investment, they earn 100 million shillings. The accounting law says I take 30% of 100 million shillings, which is 30 million shillings. I book that as income on my side, on my books. But when they pay dividends, I have to reduce that income on my side. So so what you find is the accounting rules playing in here that now made that balance come down from the 429 billion to 231 billion in that case. So all of it was women. I hope that. Then finally, the thing I want to question, there's a gentleman, one member told us that we overvalue our properties. Sir, we don't. Because this valuation is not done by us. This valuation are done by professionals and auditors before they can accept a valuation. They do some kind of testing to make sure that it is there. But for most cases, if you have land in Luboa, the price or the value of the land will go up, but by a certain a reasonable percentage. It's going up by 10% and without evidence. Also, something could happen in Luboa that brings the price of that land down. For example, we discover that in the 1960s it was a nuclear dump site, which means its value has just gone down. So there is where it can go down depending on what the events have taken place. But usually it's a reasonable basis under which that is done. Thank you, sir. Guidelines. No, what we'll share with you is the investment policy that we have, because that guides everything. Oh yeah, that one we have. That one we have. Yeah.
Through you, Chair, we'll share the investment policy, but that one is also operationalized by an investment procedures manual. So we'll share both documents.
Thank you. I want to move to financials. I want now questions on the financial aspects. Meanwhile, where is our CID? We are made to inspect Temangalo land, but it appears the person in charge of security at Temangalo goes there twice a year. So I want to instruct you to first visit Temangalo land and give this committee report on status, the encroachers, the users, with the enabling proof to guide the committee on our next course of action over that land. It is Temangalo, and they can put the plot at the block so that you don't go to the wrong land. Which plot is it?
We'll give you details.
We'll give you all the details. Because of the title and everything you can have.
Yeah, for purposes of the police.
Yeah.
The council knows the plot and block.
Yeah.
Yes? You use the microphone.
Chair, just 1 minute, I'm checking my records.
Yeah. Well, let her check her records and tell us the plot and block. The police needs to do their work in time.
Chair, a quick one before you figures.
We are coming to figures.
Before you go to figures.
Wait, you'll ask within, but I'm opening up for figures as well.
Chair, sorry, Chair, kindly allow me to share the details after.
Okay. Police follow up with her for the details. For the details, she's cross-checking. Now, I'm opening up for on financial and other rising concerns.
Now, what normally happens is
what you do, write it.
Okay.
Right, you're going to answer it together with others. I'm opening up for financials and Honorable already answered all your questions.
No, they answered, but there's one where I'm not satisfied on the
You are going to ask it again. Now, can you start? You raise it again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Managing Director, let's go to page 15. Statement of cash flows. Note 16. There's note 16. Maturities of deposits to the commercial banks maturing after 3 months. When you check the figure there for 2025 is 639 billion. When you go to, and then for 2024 it is 930 billion. Have you seen it? Okay, it is on page 15. Page 15 of your financial report. Statement of cash flows.
Where there is something which is placement of deposits with commercial banks.
The financial report.
Yes, so we are there.
So you have seen maturities of deposits with commercial banks maturing after 3 months. It is note 16. For the for note.
Yeah.
You see 16. It's on page 15.
Yeah, I see the note. Page 16, note 16.
Note 16, but let's go to page 15, where is the cash flow statement.
Yes.
Yeah, so have you seen that?
Yes.
That's note 16.
Yeah.
The figure there is 639 billion.
Yes.
Then for the other year it is 930 billion.
Correct.
Now let's go to note 16 itself, on page 47. Page 47.
Go ahead.
When you go to page 47 at the bottom, there is page 47, where there's note 16, deposits to the commercial banks.
Okay, it's 37.
Okay, maybe for you.
Page 37.
For us,
ours is 47. Okay, all right.
Deposits to the commercial banks.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the bottom, there's 2025, 2024.
Correct.
There's at the beginning of the year. Then the new placements. Then there's also number 3, maturities. You have seen maturities at the bottom. Ours is page 47, note 16. Look for note 16. It's on page 47. You can go across. You cross and give them the copy maybe, so that we match.
I didn't find a document in the page.
Yeah.
Maybe we are having different documents. Which document?
The financial report.
No. It's Secretariat. You have a copy. I've given them a similar copy. So that's what I sent. You received so that you follow the page.
Yeah. No. You see, yes. And this one. Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense.
Yeah. Also leave them with that so that when it mentions the page, they can proceed.
So on page 47, at the bottom, maturities, the figure there is 786 billion. Then the other one, for 2024, it is 930. Page 47. Have you seen that figure, 786? Have you seen it?
We've seen it. Try to tell you.
Yeah, okay, the difference is 6 billion. That's the difference between the two numbers. The difference between 639 and 786 is 146 billion. The effect of that is that it would average the cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year to 287 billion.
instead of 141. Meaning you have understated the cash balance by 146 billion. Unless you have an explanation for that. Also, for 2024.
Just give it to us a few minutes so we can figure it out here. Yeah, you're right. There is a discrepancy.
What about the difference is of how much?
146 billion.
146 billion. Do you need a calculator? Secretariat, do you have a calculator?
No?
Let's first hear from them.
And this number. That must be together. But that's because we look at the numbers post here and the and maturities.
Are you ready now? Okay. Yes?
Thank you, Chair. We've looked at the figures. Indeed, what the Honorable has shared. What we are going to do, we are going to give the committee a written explanation to this, because these accounts were audited by one of the best. Maybe it is a typo, but allow us 1 day to go and do a proper reconciliation of the figures, and then we give the committee a submission.
Okay, but also take note that whereas I'm accepting a written submission, where we need proper scrutiny, we may need to call you back or invite you back over the center. Since he's pledging to reconcile, let them reconcile. These are financial.
Now, as
Let's
you are
go to the other
looking for
question.
that, also, don't forget
So this is 146 billion, which was understated.
Yeah, and also for 2024, there is this placement of deposits with commercial banks. You have 561, and then you have 922 for 2024. Then the other side, the other side is 1 billion.
Yeah, we reconcile those two. I think yes, okay.
So you have noted?
Yeah, we have.
Okay. Yes.
Chair, you have not, I'm sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
We need to know the MD. Is it going to be done by close of business?
No, he said by Friday.
Tomorrow,
by Friday.
We are,
okay.
By Friday will be done.
Yeah.
But we shall choose when to engage with them next.
Thank you.
Yes, Chair. Yes, Honorable Kawalia.
Thank you, Chair.
Is yours on financial or the other matter?
A bit financial, because they have already pronounced themselves that they have so far spent 322 billion on pension tower. My understanding on issues of construction, really. We need more elaboration. If need be, Chair, through you, we need to have a look at the bills of quantities, which made the cost to be high. And mind you, Chair, they had said that at the moment they are on 80% of what they are supposed to construct, 80%. That means that they expect to spend more money on the same project. Chair, we need more elaboration because we are conducting business on behalf of the people of Uganda, most especially those ones who serve with the fund. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm advised that whereas I need them to answer, at least on the face of it, about the pension tower, we're also going to revisit the rules and the available documentation. If we can also interrogate the value for money audit for the pension tower as a project. But for now, please answer the Honorable.
Chair, thank you. Just information, Chair. I'm
yes.
sorry to give you information, Chair.
Yes.
Because
Information.
as per your guidance earlier, that you are sending our security personnel to go and visit Temangalo to assure the committee about their safety. As you plan to visit, I think even the pension tower should also be included. We need to visit some of these properties so that you feel.
Yeah, I think as a committee, it can form part of what we need to visit. But specifically, my direction to our CID was not only to ascertain security for us to visit, but to ascertain the status. Because we have information that the seller, the vendor, is using it for farming. There's some cattle being sighted, and the team could not able to tell whose cattle is real on that particular land. Two, they cannot even tell which part of the land is being used. But at least we heard that the vendor, Ewanunzei Amos, has a house, has cattle, and then that there are some community members with the permission of the caretaker to also use the land. Now we need police to first do a thorough scrutiny and investigation over that. But as well, I don't know how I can send the police now to the tower when we are destined also to visit it probably. I believe let them first concentrate on Temangalo. And then for us as a committee we shall decide how many projects to actually do oversight on as regards Nssf. Additional information? Okay.
Chair, they should also bring a copy of the approval of the Attorney General in regard to the MOU.
Which MOU?
The MOU between Nzei and Nssf.
MOU or the sale agreement?
Exactly.
Or both?
Both.
Council, I hope you had, from the files you inherited, I hope there is an approval of the agreement or contract by the Attorney General. Is it on file?
Chair, let's check our records and we shall revert.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yes. Do you have any quick answer for Honorable Kawaria's question on pension tower?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We will avail a copy of the bills of quantities that explains the costing as it is to date. We are happy to, again, by Friday, to avail it as part of the documents that we've taken note of.
Okay. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm not convinced with the issue of Uganda clays. Earlier, you instructed or you asked a question. Who instructed the payment of the loan to Uganda clays? And they have not answered that question. Was it a person or a board? If it was a board, can we have those minutes they considered while giving out that loan?
You want the initial loan or the restructured one?
The restructured one. Secondly, Mr. Chair, they also told us in their communication, MD, that Uganda case has now revamped. The project is now ongoing. So we want to know what is the repayment schedule of their loan to this committee. Can they tell us the repayment schedule? And how long will the loan be cleared?
Which loan? The one of Uganda case?
Yes.
So you want factual details?
Yes.
Yes, Honorable.
And probably lastly, what if Uganda case defaults? What is the mechanism of Nssf to recover that money? The 9.6 billion. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chairperson. I feel like the MD did not answer to my query of the 5 associates and the percentage in shareholding as was required by as was stated by the Auditor General's report. I feel like the question of terms of reference was building on whether those associates, Nssf has board members there before the question of terms of reference are answered. So through you, Chairperson, I would like the MD to make it clear to the committee who are these 5 companies that Nssf has invested in and what is Nssf's percentage of shareholding in those companies and whether it has representatives on those associates. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Adeximent. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My question is raising from the ownership of this land. Nssf has said that they own the land, and at the same time, they are saying that Mr. Amos is still using the land. I'm wondering who is the rightful owner of this land. How, under what procedure is Mr. Amos using this land? How does Nssf benefit from Mr. Mzei's use of the land? And how does the beneficiaries, how do the beneficiaries of Nssf, especially those who save money with Nssf, how do they benefit out of this land being used by Mzei? Is there an interest? And also on the other hand, do you also plan to also increase the interest of the beneficiaries of Nssf funds? Thank you very much.
Maybe Honorable, you referred to Mzei, but I think they said Nzei. We don't know whether he's old or...
I mean Amos.
Amos
Nzei.
First respond to those. No,
Thank you.
You're going to come in. Let them first respond to those.
I will start with the investment in associates. This is on page, it's note 23 in your reports. The 5 are Housing Finance Bank, where Nssf has a 50% share, 51% about that. It's only page 20. Let me just see.
Of which document?
In the financials. It's page 58. So that's page 58.
Yes.
Housing Finance Bank, the fund owns 51%. In terms of representation, we have got one. May be familiar what Bank of Uganda has done, Bank of Uganda is pushing for independent directors to serve on the board. And an independent director is described as a director who is not an employee or a board member of the entity of the shareholder in that case. So up until last year, there were 3, but now we only have 1. So the rest have to be independent of the fund. So the fund nominates, sends it to the board of directors, who then make the appointment. Uganda Clays, we own 32% of Uganda Clays. And as we mentioned, we have 2 people who represent, who are sitting on the board from the fund. TPS Limited, we own about 10%. We've got 1 person from the fund who is sitting on the board of that side. Umeme, 23%. That's what we owned. We had 1 person who was a member of who was sitting on the board of Umeme from Nssf. The yield fund is about 10%. We don't have. We have, yes, we have 1 person who from the fund who is sitting on that board. So those are the ones that we have.
Okay. The other questions? There are several other questions.
The question you raised in terms of land, how do they get to benefit from the land? The standards require that before you begin building, you have to value the assets you have. So part of our valuation each year is for the land we hold. Now, when that land goes out, it reflects in the books, also now reflects on the interest we declare at the end of each year for that purpose. So until we began building, because now when we build, that part of it that we are building, now that becomes inventory. You no longer value it. You wait until you finish the house, and you sell the house, and the revenues from there gets reflected. So in a way, for the members, the fact that we value it every year and shows up in our books, that allows the member to get a bit of interest from a property like Uganda Clay. It's Temangalo.
Which question was left out? You rephrase it. Beyond the record.
Those are, we're going to give you the
rephrase it for clarity. What was yours?
Mr. Chair, I asked 2 questions. 1, we wanted to know as a committee who instructed the payment to Uganda Clays, the restructured one.
There was no payment.
Is it a board or an individual?
There was no payment. The existing loan was the one that was restructured. The loan originally was 11 billion shillings. It accumulated interest to 20 billion. So then now the terms of the repayment was what was then changed. Now, the terms of those payments are actually approved by the board. And by that, it even had to go to the Attorney General because it's a new contract.
Can we have minutes?
Yes.
You had a question on financials? Yes.
Chair, thank you.
Then there is another Chair.
Let him pastorize his.
On note 7, where you'll see dividend income. That's on page 31.
Of what? Financials?
Yes. Dividend income.
Okay. Yeah.
That is note 7.
Yes.
The decline in dividends in the last financial 2024, it was 5 billion. This 2025 is 513. Maybe we need to have some explanation to that.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, also in addition to that, if you look at note 20, we have accrued interest of 2.9 trillion and also received interest of 2.5. But when you go to note 5 again, under note 5, they declare interest income as 2.8 trillion.
Which one are you on?
This one.
Yes. Go ahead.
So when you go to note 20, okay, you'll find that the last batch, you'll find that accrued interest is 2.9. interest received is 2.5. You see?
Yeah, we've seen it.
But again, on note 5, you say interest income is 2.8. So, accrued interest and interest income, that is on note 20 and note 5. Maybe you give an explanation.
Yes, MD.
Okay.
And your team.
Let me get on the first one you raised, which was the dividends from fund managers. Last year, in 2025, what we did was we reduced allocations to fund managers because we now brought a lot of the investments in equity in-house. So the stock of equities they used to hold, especially they were from Kenya, dealing with the Kenya stock exchange, reduced, and that's why the dividends from them for that year also came down, because we reduced the stock they were holding. In fact, they had to transfer them back to us, some of the shares that they were holding in their portfolio. That explained why the dividends from fund managers went down compared to the year before.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Back to the dormant accounts. I think it's prudent enough to, while registering with the Nssf, members always indicate the beneficiaries. So having a dormant account may mean, for some time it may mean the member no longer exists, but they are beneficiaries during the time of registration. I feel it's beneficial to community if you at the time of publishing, you indicate even the beneficiaries, so that they can say, oh, me, I belong to so and so, it no longer exists, and they approach the facility for benefits. Then I've seen that you increase some interest rate on observers from 12 to 13. That is very good. Don't you think, if possible, if it is sustainable, don't you think if you added one to make it 14%, it can be an incentive to attract many savers like these MPs and others than running to a facility where you are not sure of recovery? Thank you.
MD, your response to that?
I will, okay. And I think there's something in finance that you don't do. You can't promise the future. Okay. It's not even allowed. Professionally, would want to do that. I wish I could tell you we're going to do this. I think it would be. But even at 13.5%, our members were very happy. Our members were really extremely happy, and it showed in how much more they trusted us in terms of sending more money for us to keep for them. Our Smart Life, which now competes favorably with the unit trusts, like I said, has attracted 106,000 members. And over the last, basically, you're looking at maybe 14 months, 16 months, 174 billion shillings they've saved with them. So yeah, we will try to give the members the best we can. And we hope, hopefully, as the future goes and the environment is fine, yeah, we'll go to that 14% or 15%, whatever it is that we can do. But we can't foretell the future.
Honorable Sabamala,
Thank you, Honorable Sabamala, an ex-official.
Members, Honorable Sabamala is not a member of the committee. The rules allows us to admit a member for purpose of any discussion, same for voting.
Yes, and
do we admit him? Yes, the ayes have it.
And proceed. And I'm sorry for the dress code. I talked to the chairperson about it. I have two questions, or three. One, I want to know how many of your savers can afford your investment in Temangalo. And is it Lubowa?
Yes.
Yes, how many of your savers have? Because I've seen ghost houses there with no people. But then you have 1.5 million people that are saving. How can you get our money when we cannot afford?
With the ghost houses, you mean empty houses?
Empty houses.
But already constructed.
Because in the construction in Lubowa, I think only around 5 or 6 are taken. I don't know. Okay, that is for you to answer. The other is
no. Let's get to the facts. How many completed houses do we have in Lubowa?
306.
306.
And 8 as of yesterday are the only ones remaining.
8.
8. No, 8.
Remaining for completion or
no, for sale?
For sale.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's okay. How about Temangalo?
Temangalo, we have not even begun selling yet. We are going to have close to 500 homes.
There's also some other small question I want to ask.
Yeah.
Do you have the title for pension house?
Yes, we do.
How about the one of workers house?
Yes, we do.
Can you, through chair, can they avail?
Maybe among
those
the documents,
titles?
you also avail us title copies of those properties.
Not copies, originals, because there is an issue on that.
No. Let them avail copies. Then originals we can only inspect.
They just come with them, then we shall see them.
Yeah, and we can send our copies for verification.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. There was I think you had another question, or you okay?
The other question was about the infrastructure bonds.
About houses. I just wanted to answer a bit about houses.
Please respond.
Within the real estate area portfolio, we've got different level to cater for different demographics that who are our members. Temangalo is going to be one of the most affordable. I can't tell you what the price right now is, though, supposedly, because that will be pre-including whatever. But when you hear that price, you'll be a happy man, because that was specially made to target. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. I have tried to join this meeting.
Okay,
Chair. Thank you.
Last question.
The questions cannot get done today.
Only one, Mr. Chair.
I think we have requested for the Nssf to submit some documents at least by Friday.
Chair, this
we
is
also
just a
intend
clarification
to inspect.
to help.
Sir, please order. I also intend to inspect. We intend as a committee to inspect some projects, to do oversight on them. We shall communicate the dates.
Thank you.
And from our findings and from the responses, we shall choose as and when to have a further interface with you over the same. But for now, I want to thank you for coming and attending to this invitation. Meeting adjourned. For the next 20 minutes, you can have a lunch break. And after 20 minutes, let's come back for our second entity of the day, Nita Uganda. Nita you.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
You know what they say about life? Life is really short to spend it while you're having bad food. Here at Chike Choma, they change that aspect by telling you they have what they call a special menu. They boast of so much that you can love when it comes to food. And not only food, but drinks. The mojitos, the coffee. So if you want to find out where this place is located, they are in Bulindo, you know, right here in Chila, opposite Mulawa Mall.
HAPENING initiative is providing therapeutic services to children.
Feminism isn't about making women strong. Women are already strong. It is about changing the way the world perceives that strength. Where there is a woman, there is magic. Professor Dr. Sarah Cosase is a multifaceted expert in children and family development, dedicated to creating safe, healthy and empowering environments for children and young people.
No one has a right to define who you are. You are the best version of yourself, and whatever you need for life, you have it.
Her tireless advocacy has inspired countless individuals and families, and her commitment to creating positive change in Uganda continues to inspire and motivate.
But at the end of the day, Edgy, the point is that if you listen to lawyer Atachian and then also the concerns that have been raised by his previous lawyer before Atachian came in, you would find that they all seem to agree that there seemed to be not enough evidence for that conclusion to be drawn by the judge, as we saw in the judgments. And so, putting all the circumstances that was aggregated, accumulated to draw that conclusion was wrong. And so for an appeal process, they should be successful, they say.
Okay, so the success or otherwise on appeal would largely be based on the grounds formulated, the nature of the evidence that were put before the trial court. And the first principle that we must all agree is that appeal is by way of rehearing. So the three appellate courts are put in the place of the trial judge. So they will be going through the trial as though they were the court of first instance. But just that in this case, they don't have the benefit of evaluating demeanors and all of those things. They will be looking purely on the record. Then, based on that, they will be making, so like the lawyers will say, appeal is by way of rehearing. So they will be put in the place of the trial court. But you see, I've heard a lot of comments, particularly on this Wontumi trial. And I think that we need to do a bit more of critical thinking on these issues. You see, look, I think the MPP as a political party failed Wontumi. And they are hiding that failure by trying to shift the goalposts to other people. Why do I say so? The first time that this Wontumi matter became a matter of public conversation was by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources under the MPP, who first raised the issue that Akunta mining is engaged in a forest without the necessary authorization. That should have been a red flag for the MPP. This is your original chairman. This is what he does. It is your collective responsibility to ensure that he does it right. You failed him. And instead of taking responsibility for that failure, you are looking for judges. You are looking for people to blame. No. Look, if you recall, this same Samra boy and Tano, Akonta Mining and Wontumi in particular, if you call the 2013 incident, where he accused that the previous Mahama administration, officers of state had destroyed his mining concession and other. When the MPP came to power, he decided to issue a writ to challenge that process. The matter went before my Lord Justice Ajay Frimpong. At that time, he was a justice of the Court of Appeal. Now he's a Supreme Court judge. When he evaluated the entire evidence, he came to the conclusion that whatever the state agencies did at that time was lawfully carried out. It didn't end there. 2023, Samates, you know them.
Yeah, very well.
You know Samates. Wontumi went on to Samates forestry concession and started mining. Samates issued a writ against Wontumi for trespass onto their concession.
In a civil
matter. I'm just giving you a pattern of conduct. The matter went before the High Court judge at 2nd. I still remember, I think I have the case. If you look, when the matter went before the High Court judge in 2nd, Samates won against Wontumi. And the High Court judge in 2023, not 2026 or 2025, the High Court judge came to the conclusion that Wontumi had trespassed on Samates concession and were engaged in illegal mining.
Engaged in illegal mining?
Yes. I just want to read portions of the judgment for you.
Samates versus Akonta Mining.
Yes. So this is the decision in the High Court of Justice, Western Region, held at the 2nd on the 19th day of May 2023, before her ladyship, Efia Edu Amankwa, Samates Timber and Plywood Company Limited versus Akonta Mining Services. This is the decision of the High Court. And if you look at the 16-page judgment, he said even though the defendant has acquired a mining right to subject Samurai Boy through the mining lease agreement between the government of Ghana and the defendant, blah, 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 that mining lease is invalid. In the circumstance, the defendant counterclaim is dismissed. That is wound to me.
Not to interrupt.
Look, I'm coming. Please, I'm coming. At that time, Wontumi claimed that he should be given damages for all based on that counterclaim. The High Court judge found him and invalidated the supposed lease. This is Samates. Then came the decision of Akonta Mining versus the Minister for Interior, Defense, among others. That again, the court found that Akonta Mining had engaged in illegal mining.
This is just a question.
But you see,
a question for you
please
to clarify.
go ahead.
Yes. So I have not read this judgment.
Please, I will share with you later.
Based on what you just said, I'm only asking the question. Is it also not the case that Wontumi went on or Akonta Mining, because the company is a distinct personality from Wontumi as an individual? Were they not also claiming that indeed a lease had been given to them and the lease covered that portion of land, so for which reason he did not just enter on that plot of land as though he just decided to do so without a lease? Is that not what his contention was at the time?
See, at that time, the concession was that Wontumi had failed to comply with the laws of this country or whatever he's doing. Mining is regulated. You can't just wake up and say, I'm going to mine. Yeah. So the point I am making is that they have been consistent. In fact, they have been...
But I was only asking the question.
Did
he have a lease for that portion of land?
The court said it was invalid for whatever
but he had a lease.
No, but the point is that...
he was not just somebody who had decided to go and then disregard the law.
I am making this point. I am making this
Okay.
point because, you see, 2019, my Lord Justice Ajay Frimpong had ruled against him, the same mining activity. 2023, the same High Court. So I am making the point that even prior to this judgment, there were subsisting judgments of the High Courts of this country against the company that you people knew, but took a certain posturing. Sometimes I have the feeling that you guys felt you will never lose power.
Yeah.
And therefore, there was a certain level of impunity with which you handle some of these undertaking. Look, I remember when Anado appeared before the Catholic Bishop Conference in Koforidua and made the point that as far as he is concerned, as at the time you were speaking, Wuntumi was not engaged in galamsey, that for me should have been a red flag. Look, this morning I heard you make the point that, listen, the basis on which the judgment came, circumstantial, there was no direct evidence and all of those things. You are a lawyer to be, so you are a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. The first thing we are taught in the law of evidence class is that there are two things every lawyer looks for: the burden of proof and the burden of persuasion. These two things. We know that in criminal trial, the burden of proof is on the prosecution and is proved beyond reasonable doubt. But we also do know that within this burden, there is also a burden of persuasion. That burden of persuasion is not fixed. It oscillates. It moves from parties to parties.
At which point, or the instance of
okay, so the point is that in a trial like this case, when you make a positive assertion, the burden is on you to prove. That's persuasion. So where, for instance, you make the claim that I brought Henry Okun onto the concession only for reclamation, who bears that burden? Counsel, my brother.
But so he,
because you see, at that point,
he brought the gentleman for a specific,
and that is why I asked that. So the burden, so the burden was.
So if you disagree, I'll allow you to proceed. If you disagree, he says that, well, I brought him to come and do reclamation. If you disagree, the burden is on you.
No. First of all, no. No, the burden doesn't shift.
It is you who is alleging that the person was there for a different purpose.
In order for us to reduce the interjection,
I don't intend to do that.
You see,
Answer, you have 2 minutes.
I will finish with that. You see, in this particular case, you came and said, in fact, if you look at, and let me read Chairman Wuntumi's paragraph 8 of his witness statement that he gave when he appeared before the court. I just want to read that portion, the paragraph 8, if you permit me. And like we always say, nothing convicts a man faster than his own words.
And this was under cross-examination?
No, the witness statement that he offered. And this is why he said, paragraph 8. I wish to state clearly and unambiguously that the permission I granted to Mr. Henry Okun was strictly and exclusively for the purpose of land reclamation. Specifically, the planting of cocoa seedlings on the already mined and degraded portions of A3 concession. I did not at any time grant Henry Okun permission to conduct, undertake, or carry any mining operation or to extract minerals from A3 concession. The permission I granted was limited solely to reclamation activities on the mine out portion. That's your bare assertion, bare words. Now the man, Henry Okun, you are saying that it shifts to him. So the man now comes and says, Chairman, this is not what we agreed to do. What we agreed to do was that, one, you are not giving me any money for reclamation.